What we found is people in the top 10% in every field think in terms of their hourly rate, how much I earn each hour. Now this change in thinking changes your entire life. I know because I've taught this principle to thousands of people who literally transform their lives and their incomes almost overnight. If you think in terms of how much you earn in a week or a month, well then you have a natural tendency to waste time during the day. Monday is a slow day. You're recovering from the weekend. Tuesday you start to work. Wednesday the week is almost over. Thursday you start to slow down. And now it's Friday. Who gets anything done on Friday will do it on Monday. And so people's ability to produce drops, and drops. And since 80% of the population thinks like this, if you're not careful, you'll find you are surrounded by people who waste time. The biggest time wasters in the world are other people who want to waste your time. And the way that they waste your time is by talking. Talk, no work, just talk. Or play on the computer or phone home. Check the movies, go shopping, drink coffee, start late, leave early, long lunch hours. How am I doing so far? Does it make you uncomfortable? Say yes, because it starts to become a habit. Remember, human beings are always trying to do what is pleasurable and what is comfortable. And over time, they do more and more pleasurable things, which is talking to your friends and having coffee and going for lunch. And soon, the average person is not working at all. So when you start thinking in terms of your hourly rate, it transforms your life. And what we have found, and we talked about this morning, is that in terms of your hourly rate, there are only 3 things that you do that account for 90% of your income. In every field, it's always the same. There's only 3 things. When you think of your hourly rate, you have to think of what we call the law of 3. What are the 3 things that you do that pay you the highest hourly rate, that pay you the highest potential income? Well, Columbia University did a study some years ago, and they found that the average salesperson works only 90 minutes a day. The average salesperson spends all of their time warming up and resting, warming up. The average salesperson makes about 2 calls a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And in between, they're getting ready and they're making excuses and they're drinking coffee and they're reading the paper and they're checking their email, reading spam and so on, but they only work 90 minutes a day. And they did that first study in 1928. They've upgraded the study year after year. The latest one was about 2008. Average salesperson still works 90 minutes a day. And so all sales incomes are diluted down to 90 minutes a day. So we find that there's only 3 things that you do that pay you your desired hourly rate. And they are prospecting, presenting, and closing the sale, finding new people to talk to, talking to those new people, and getting them to take action. I was working for a large company at the beginning of this recession, and they said, we're bringing you into our annual convention to talk to our 350 salespeople, national company. And I asked them a lot of questions, which I do. And one of the questions was, what are your feelings about business for the coming year? They say, our business will be down by about 30% this year because of the recession. I said, well, why don't you set a goal to increase your business by 30%? They said, no, that's not possible. Don't you read the newspapers? We are in advertising. Business is down and business is going to be slow. And we're adjusting to that. I said, well, you know your salespeople only work 90 minutes a day. Why don't you just get them to work 3 hours a day and you can increase your sales rather than decrease your sales? And he said, no, that's not true. Our salespeople are professionals. They have an average of 11 years of experience. These people have been in the business for a long time. He said, they couldn't possibly be working 90 minutes a day. They work all day long. I said, no, they only work 90 minutes a day. So this is not a good way to start a business relationship. So he said, I've never heard that number. I said, well, unfortunately, it's true. I said, I have a suggestion for you. At this seminar, why don't we hand out stopwatches to all the salespeople? And I'll explain this principle, and then we'll track their workday. So at the seminar, I introduced them to a stopwatch. It costs maybe 5 or 10 euros. And I got them to agree that for the next month, every salesperson, when they went in to see a prospect, they would click on the stopwatch. And when they went out, they'd click it off, and they'd just keep clicking it, and it would keep adding up. At the end of a day, they could see how many minutes they'd spent with customers. And at the end of a week, they could see how many minutes. And they said, great. So the seminar was very successful. And I also said one other thing to this group. I said, you know that 80% or 90% of your prospective customers have never heard of you. They do not know that you exist. They do not know that your product or service can help them. They have no idea. So you can never approach your entire prospect market. So a month after the seminar, about 5 weeks, I got a letter from him. And it said, Dear Brian, I'm writing to thank you for your seminar. He said, I have to apologize. He said, the salespeople reported their numbers from the stopwatches at the end of 30 days. And we found that the average salesperson was spending 90 minutes and 42 seconds a day with customers. He said, they have all agreed to increase that to 180 minutes. He said, our sales are going up at a faster rate than ever before. This recession is not affecting us at all. A year later, he wrote back. He said their sales were up 30% over their best year in history because the salespeople started calling on people they'd never called on. Natural tendencies to keep calling back on your old customers. They started calling on new prospects and spending more time doing it. Well, what I do is I call this FaceTime. I call it the critical measure of your success. Is how much time do you spend face-to-face with customers? And that's the key to the stopwatch idea, is if you can increase or double the amount of time you spend face-to-face with customers, my promise to you is you will double your income. You see, you cannot control where the sale is going to come from. You cannot control the sales result. But you can control one thing. You can control your sales activities. If you control your sales activities, you put yourself under what is called the law of probabilities. The law of probabilities says that by doubling the amount of time you spend face-to-face with customers, you double the probability that you will increase your income. And so you have total control over your income. Just go and call on more people. Just spend more time face-to-face. If somebody calls you in the office, they should never be able to find you in the office. Do you know why? Because there's no customers in the office. The customers are outside the office. People who worked with him, who I have met, still talk about those being the great days. And the only strategy was forcing salespeople to go out and spend more time face-to-face with customers. And you can do that yourself. You can be your own sales manager and use the one infallible, totally controllable strategy in the world. Spend more FaceTime. Human beings are very much, they have what is called a cybernetic guidance mechanism, like a guided missile. A guided missile is fired at the target, and even if the target moves, the missile takes feedback and adjusts its course and hits the target. You have a cybernetic mechanism where you are learning. You are a learning machine. The more activities you engage in, the faster you learn. And pretty soon you become so smart that you can hit the target almost every time. In conclusion, mastering time management empowers us to seize opportunities, achieve our goals, and live a balanced and fulfilling life. Let's prioritize wisely, organize efficiently, and make every moment count towards our success and happiness.
Thank you.